So this is the inside of the safe. Oh yeah, you have the Snyder cut of Justice League over there, some of Saddam Hussein's AK-47s, and then money. Hi everyone, I'm Zack Snyder, and this is Notes on a Scene from Army of the Dead.
Team's all here.
Lovely to have you all gathered here today. Meet your target.
I find this kind of mashup of zombie and heist and action really compelling for me. This is my postmodern take on zombie action heist movie. The scene we're about to see is a scene where Bly Tanaka, who is the owner of the casino, he's introducing them to the plan that he has for them to get the money and where it is, and he's kind of explaining everything that's going to happen in the movie. So this is the obligatory warehouse scene where everyone gets together to find out what the plan for the movie is.
The Vegas Bly. You can't fly into Vegas. It's restricted airspace. But you can fly out. There is an abandoned rescue helicopter on top of the North Tower, Sodom.
We shot this scene in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is a really cool old train warehouse where they used to repair and or build trains. And now it is abandoned and used for movie production. We had been out and about shooting a bunch of stuff in and around Albuquerque while they built a big backlot set, basically the big intersection by the MGM and New York, New York. While they were building that and getting that ready, we were shooting these couple scenes in and around Albuquerque. You always have that scene in a heist movie where they lay out the plan and they might have a miniature or some sort of slideshow or some kind of prepare the plan scene, which I thought was pretty fun. Also, by the way, Hero was really good at pulling that sheet off. He nailed it every time. It was glorious to behold. The miniature of the casino, this is based on a casino that's in Atlantic City, where we actually shot the actual scenes inside the casino. So this is the whole bottom levels of this are actually as they are in Atlantic City. And then we made the casino a bit taller than it is. That's where we extended the casino up, that section. Also, this pool area doesn't exist. But yeah, so you'll see that later on as we make our way into Vegas itself.
If you coordinate and communicate, this should be a simple in and out.
This is 360-degree dolly. This we shot on the intersection set. You could see some of those zombies are CG and some are real. These guys at this level are real, and this guy's probably CG. And then as they go back across this entire environment, back here is all CG. In the film, this is the first time we see the whole crew together. It's very much a put together the team movie as well as all the other genres. And so yeah, having them all lined up there, I looked at more like a Dirty Dozen or Magnificent Seven style. There's the team kind of a moment. These were all gas guns. This is like a 50-round magazine. And they're soft air guns, so they're not firing anything except for air. So all the muzzle flashes were added, all the shell casings were added. And the reason I did that was because I knew we'd be going quickly. I love using real blanks, but in this case, I knew that it would slow us down to have an armorer on set all the time and reloading all the things. So with the gas guns, we were able to do it safely, of course, too, because I knew I'd be going in front of their... I've shot a lot with blanks, and the problem is when you move in front of the camera, there's a lot of stuff, actual fire and gunpowder and wadding comes out of the barrel of the gun. And so I have to have shields, and they have to build all these things to protect the camera and me from something that might come out of the barrel. But in this case, since it's air, it's 100% safe. But it does move the gun. When the soft air fires, it wiggles the gun, so it gives them a little bit of resistance. See the shell casings and everything. Sam Nguyen, I've worked with for a long time. I met her as a stunt performer, but she's an amazing actress as well. She's a complete ass kicker. And it was great to put her in the movie. You see them all in their most fantasy version of fighting zombies where they're just completely in the zone. The audience is supposed to be at that point these guys are stone cold zombie killers. This will be no problem for them. The bat for Matthias was because it's a very iconographic zombie killing tool. in a sort of fantasy sense. This is a super impractical device, like, you know, nailing big nails through a bat. It seems like a cool idea from a zombie standpoint, but in reality, he's got the most impractical tool.
Wait! My apologies. How precisely do we do the zombie killing?
Like, he looks at the bat and then goes, wait a minute. How exactly are we doing the zombie killing? Because you guys all have machine guns.
Is there anybody else here who hasn't killed a zombie?
We were really trying to personalize everybody, because when you have a big ensemble, it's good to kind of be able to have icons, you know, to separate them. Like, you have Anna has her key, and Scott has his glasses, and there's always like little trinkets that identify each person. But this is also a good example of, you can see, I shot this is a 50 mil, one of the Dream lenses, and you can see the bokeh, all these crazy, like the way it renders the background in this kind of super crazy, and the depth of field is so short, like if you can look, his shoulders out of focus, and like, you know, the fall off is like right in there. And I just felt like by really trying to reduce the depth of field constantly, you're always isolating everyone and kind of bringing them into this kind of narrow view. And it's slightly claustrophobic. It makes the movie feel claustrophobic even though you're outside half the time. So I thought it was really, and I just think it's beautiful. Like, look at that. It's creamy and crazy. And of course, Tig wasn't there for any of this. Tig was added later. It was a real exercise for me, technically, as a cinematographer, to have shot this incredibly organic, handheld, like, you know, natural light film, and then have to go onto a stage and reproduce the lighting exactly in the most technically accurate way possible. So it was like a really kind of a crazy exercise to say, okay, we're going to put Tig into the movie, but it has to look like this weird, organic, completely natural thing. And you could see that you can't tell that she wasn't there. And in all these shots, so look.
From there, you move down the strip.
There's Tig right there. She's completely CG in this shot. So we picked up each one of those pieces was done. Even the out of focus little pieces of her were done specifically for that moment and shot against green screen on a stage, and she was completely added. One of the fun things about this was the different character zombies that would be in Las Vegas. Like, I think this guy, he looks like a dealer. We had all the jobs of the different people. And Stephanie loved putting people in tracksuits. And for some reason, she had this idea that everyone in Vegas had tracksuits on. And I thought it was great. So this is a good example of a good geography moment. Here is, back here, that's the Olympus, right? This is a casino we added. This doesn't exist in real life. And then the Bly is behind us. You know, you can sort of see there's the Bellagio. This is the Paris, kind of where we are in the reality of Vegas. This is a paratrooper. In the title sequence, you see all these paratroopers coming into Vegas. There's a number of these when you watch the movie that if you kind of tally them up, you know, you can, you know, it's like a quiz show, like how many paratroopers didn't make it to the ground in the movie? And there's a handful of them, and you can find them. And if you look, this guy's kind of just slightly swinging. We shot this in Albuquerque on a hill outside the studio. We built this hill with a tractor, and sort of like this is real. And then green screen was back there. So we had this little hill, and we had a couple little pieces of foreground rubble, and then that's green screen back there. And so all that's, of course, digital.
You reach the casino in less than 2 hours. You go in and find the generators.
This was us building the casino. The idea of this back here was, that's daylight back there, but we built this. Of course, the idea is that there's like, of course, no windows in casinos. We put it in there because I knew that when they arrived at the casino, there would be no power on. And so if you didn't have like some sort of light sources, distant light sources, it would be just black in there. And there'd just be flashlight light. And I like the idea of that little kind of blue rim.
is at the end of the hallway.
There's the Götterdammerung. If you look closely, right in this area, there's a placard that says Götterdammerung and where it was built in Germany, because in the prequel, Matthias's movie, you learn all about the guy who designed these safes. I came up with this idea for this mythology of the safes based on Wagner's Ring Cycle. And so each of the safes is named for a chapter in that opera. And our character Dieter, in Germany, 2 years before this, in the movie that we already shot, that's the companion movie for this, he's trying to crack those other safes.
Meanwhile, our fearless pilot / mechanic fuels the helicopter.
That's just badass Tig shots. I really love the way this shot came out because I just love Tig. You have to analyze her helmet. I work with this guy, Adam Foreman, who's an amazing tattoo artist and graphic designer, and I said, come up with some cool stuff for the helmet, and he just came up with some great ideas for it. There's a reference on the back, no ass, no grass, no gas, no free ride. Just fun, because she's just, look at her, she's amazing. I think she just liked the idea of having a cigarillo, because she thought like, that's something she would never do. And she just was like, I think my character would be bad. She picked the cigarillo. This was like one of the only shots. We went to an airport and I just filmed the shot of this because our helicopter doesn't work. It was the only time we had to use a real helicopter because everything else was CG. Like when the helicopter's flying and stuff, it was completely just CG prop. We had it on a crane and kind of just lifted it up.
Back at the main door, our safe cracker gets to work. Like a surgeon or a painter. His masterpiece rendered in barely audible clicks.
So this is the inside of the safe. Oh yeah, you have the Snyder cut of Justice League over there. Some of Saddam Hussein's AK-47s, and then money. We kind of did this embellishment of lighting the inside of the safe because it's just sexy. I don't know that would be real.
Then, all you have to do is load the money on the helicopter.
So in this shot, we shot this twice. Here's Tig, right? This is actually Tig. When we put Tig in the shot, we had this shot already of the helicopter, and we built the dolly track. And what I would do is, I kind of had a good idea where the camera was when we shot it in Albuquerque. So I would get a monitor, and I literally would take a grease pencil like this, and I would line up I would literally draw on the monitor to line up the shot. Because if you superimpose it, you can take these two elements, the front element and the back element, to find the height of the camera. So like if you keep booming down, 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 and you can get this line and this line to line up, you'll know the camera is at the right height. And then you go left and right, and you line up these two and this one, and now you know the camera is left and right correct. And then what we did is, because we had the duplicate helicopter, and then we put Tig in the seat, and we literally manually dollied the camera, and I would try and operate, because there's a little bit of operation, when I'd watch the monitor and try and keep all the lines lined up. And then in post, they glued it together, and it worked. And then we also had to do it at the exact same time of day, because all the shadows had to match. And if you watch, look at, she closed the door, boom.
Fly off into the sunset.
This is a full CG shot. Nothing like this happens really in the movie, in the real movie, or the movie what happens to them when they go into the reality of the heist. But I really wanted this like really beautiful Apocalypse Now style, fly into the sun on the helicopter shot, with the gleaming kind of pieces of Vegas, this kind of romantic. I remember laboring over the amount of heat distortion that was coming out of the motors and the amount that it would that this heat would kind of be displacing the reality of the helicopter behind it.
All this, a full day before the nuke ever leaves the launch pad.
I like this sort of after a giant helicopter shot to get us back into sort of the reality of the story. It just felt like a really nice little way to snap us out of it. Sorry to be too literal, but that was kind of that's kind of where it comes from. I love this little sequence. It's kind of like that great subversion of expectation of how easy it's going to be to do it. And you can imagine it's not quite as easy as what they lay out here.